All right, guys, here's my question on this beautiful Saturday morning. If you've put yourself out there for so many risks and so many challenges, and you, they say if you haven't found the right one yet, it's not going to mesh well with you or fit into what your niche is. Now, granted, I have a lot of niches. I don't specifically stick with one niche. And if you're listening, I have a TikTok. It's called Fawn in the Sun. But anyways, that's besides the point. What I want to say is, how do you know if you've tried so many risks? People tell you release your inhibitions and go for it. Do you really know though? Because you've tried so many times. What if you end up being in the same cycle that you were before? So, funny story. I did real estate before. I was killing it, and then I lost momentum because something happened, which I'd be willing to tell you offline, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was just actually kind of ridiculous. And so it's kind of like I lost momentum because the pandemic was ending and there was not enough clients at that point, and it was like a different market, but that's not ultimately why. However, when you take a risk to try something new, for example, if you want to be like a life coach or something, and you want to put all your marbles in that one jar, how do you know that this time is the right time and the last time wasn't the right time? And how do you know when to stop giving it your all? And, it's a funny story because it's kind of like there's people out there that will say, keep persisting, keep doing whatever. But at some point, you have to figure that isn't the right time to keep going forward. This is not the right thing for me. This isn't the right niche. But are you calling it quits too soon? Are you calling it quits haphazardly? Are you being impulsive? Now, you could say you're being impulsive by taking the risk. However, being a very analytical person, I would like to think otherwise. I would think that I am not the one that is taking the risk extreme. However, I am taking a risk when I'm putting all my marbles in one basket and investing in something like real estate. But you can also look at it as maybe you analyticized it the wrong way and you realize, yeah, all the pieces were there, the social aspect, the persistence, but it wasn't the right type of field for you. Now, I think that you can apply this to anything in the real world. You can apply this to, let's say, your relationships. You can say, I really wanted to make this work. I called this person. I was so adamant about having the relationship go on. I was so involved. But if you can't get the other person to commit and to follow the same energy that you have in the relationship, how do you know that that's really going to evolve into something phenomenal or extravagant? And you really don't. But at some point, you have to call the shots and you have to say, this is it for me. And that's where I ended up when I was in real estate years ago. And that's where I was when I tried several other things I tried, because make no mistake, I was a yes person. I was the one saying, okay, let's do it. Let's go for it. There's no better time than now. I was the impulsive person. And I know you're like, but I thought you were the analytical person. Well, ironically, you can be both at the same time. And I think that's what gets me sometimes, because I can see into the future. I can say, what if this happens, then this happens? It's a risk. And you want to live your life without regrets, of course. And I saw an interesting TikTok video yesterday. The guy was like, what if, let me think of how he worded it. He was just like, what if you look at your life at the end of it and you're just like, I didn't pick all the correct ways of doing things? Is it serendipitous that you're going to end up finding the right things eventually? And I would say yes. And let me tell you why I would say yes. I would say yes simply because God is in control of your life. And I'm not saying that you don't have free will, but God will place other things in your life to redirect you to the right place. And I think it's all about having faith and knowing that God's presence will guide you and he will show you where to go. And it's not going to be like a fiery bush like Moses saw, but it might be some other sign in your life that you need to be intuitively looking out for. And the reason this is significant is because it shows you that there is a stopping point when it comes to impulsively taking a risk. There is a stopping point when it comes to involving yourself in a challenge. There is an end, or there might not be an end, but that's also visible as well. And I think as, I don't know, being an intuitive, empathetic person that I am, I think the best way to figure it out for me, it might be slightly different for you, is when I really take time to introvertly look inside myself, when I take time to really meditate about it, when I take time to really pray deeply and really, I don't want to know, express all the ways I can about it, like expressively get it out. So maybe that's writing, maybe that's journaling, maybe that is showing myself content, showing myself, or expressing myself in content. And this can look very different when I've exhausted all the options and I've really prayed about it. And I know, I think the one thing that really shows up that's really imperative to remind me, hey, time is up, is when it's not really exciting me anymore. And this brings me to the fact that I've seen so many content creators online. They say, if you don't have a niche, you're not going to get seen. If you don't do this, you're not going to get seen. There is no set in stone way to do things. Let me tell you, if you are all over the place and that's your personality, don't change, because that takes away the fun posting. That takes away the excitement. Nothing in life is perfect. And, when you accept that imperfection is the way to go, then you realize that's simply the best way to go about doing this. And I want to say, when you notice that intuitive sign or that gift or that way of doing things and notice that it's really clear and you have clarity and the fog lifts. And now let me just inform you, this does not happen overnight. This does not happen immediately. This happens when you are truly intentional with everything you're doing. When you're intentional with how you pray, when you're intentional with your meditation, when you're intentional with your journaling, when you're intentional with your posting, when you're intentional with your interactions. This sounds crazy, but I think that if you're sending negative energy or wasting your time, having a grudge or holding a grudge against somebody or something or some particular incident, you cannot be one with feeling how you want to feel or what your intentions are in this world. And I think truly that's what holds us back. We can be really, really caught up on the fact of, well, I don't even know how to explain it, but basically we can be caught up and really misguided because of the brain fog, because we have such negative energy towards someone, towards something, towards some interaction. And as a result, we struggle. We really do. We miss the point, and we cannot have clarity if we do not clear or release our brain of what doesn't serve us. And so we get caught up in this place. We remind ourselves that it's challenging at times to have this clarity. Make no mistake, it's very hard. But if there's one thing I can share with you today, it's that there is a time to stop, there is a time to go on, and there is a time to be clear on it. And if your brain is caught up in brain fog lately and you have no clarity, God will send you something, I promise. Make your intentions pure, and He will send you something. And to be honest, I really think that something happened recently in my life that really showed that this was real. I really struggle as a mom finding friends here. And I had someone reach out to me, ironically, and thought it was in real estate still. And they said they wanted me to be their realtor. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing it anymore. And I expressed that I was still willing to connect them with someone. Well, as a result, we became really good friends, and we're meeting up today. It's pretty crazy how the world works, though. It works in mysterious ways, and how God will show you. He will show you what you need if you just listen. He will show you what you need if you just release control. And honestly, it's the hardest thing in the world, but it's really easy when you see that your time is up at your place or your risk or your career or your place of interest. And it's really hard because there's so much distracting us in this world. There's so many distractions. Let me tell you, you can go on TikTok and be distracted every 5 seconds from a new video. You'll join it and the person's energy won't be right, and you'll skip to the next video and you'll see that you lost distraction. You lost what your mind was thinking because of the distractions on this content thing. And it's the same in the world. People distract you. Life distracts you. Your children distract you. Your spouse distracts you. And not saying it's not good to be distracted, but you can lose focus and lose your intention and your purpose and your sight of what you're trying to meditate about, you're trying to prove yourself about. And sometimes God wants you to be alone in your thoughts. Sometimes God wants you to be in this time of silence. So he's trying to tell you that you need to find out what you need to get through. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's rough. It's not easy. It's rough to be alone in your thoughts. But God is working on you when you're alone in your thoughts. God is really diving in deep with you. God is really finding out what you need and showing you what you need in your life. And he will give you peace. He will show you that even though whatever didn't work out, the relationship, the career, the challenge, it can be success in another area. He's just showing you that this wasn't meant for you. And these small things in life can add up to it. So if you have the time to pray and meditate about it, give yourself to God and tell him to show you, to guide you. Pray about it. Every minute you have, think about how grateful you are that you're here and you have this ability to change things, to eliminate risk, and to really give it all to God.